presser site because they're doing a presser in about 20 minutes.
Awesome. Awesome. Okay, so it sounds like we got it covered.
So we're here. I don't know if you want to see where you are.
Yeah.
What you want to do. But I'm at the site because they've got the podium set here. They're going to the presser at 12:30.
So it is Biffle's then.
I don't know about that, but they're doing a presser with some baseline information at 12:30.
Yeah, that's what everybody's saying. It's Biffle.
Yeah. Yeah, he might not have been on it, but hopefully he's not on it, but I don't know.
All right. All right, cool. I'll catch up with you in a minute. Well, we'll get it figured out. Okay, I got to split. Okay. Yeah, guy.
Okay, I'm with Katie and Alex. They're wanting me to find you.
Okay, I'll drop you a pin from where I am. I'm shooting video right now. Later.
When that thing hit the ground, it blew the flaps in the shop open in the bin. Holy shit. Looking for the set screws.
Yeah, brother man. Yeah, no problem. Give me 2 seconds. Let me get my shiznit together.
Jake, yeah.
I said I saw it.
It came in through the tree. And when that thing hit the ground, it blew the flaps in the shop open in the bin.
Ooh, mommy, it's getting cold out there.
Looking for the set screws in our... Jake, yeah.
I said I saw it.
It came in through the tree. When that thing hit the ground, it blew the flaps in the shop open in the bin.
I said I saw it.
Holy shit. Looking for the set screws in our... Jake, yeah. It came in through the tree. And when that thing hit the ground, it blew the flaps in the shop open in the bin. Holy shit.
I said I saw it.
Looking for the set screws in our... Jake, yeah. It came in through the tree. And when that thing hit the ground, it blew the flaps in the shop open in the bin. shit. Looking for the set screws and I heard.
Craft Warrior was coming in. I told her what we knew, and she broke down into saying she knows somebody that's coming in that was flying today that possibly could be on one of those races. Absolutely heartbreaking situation out here. Unfortunately, we send prayers to her and her family, but I want to show you exactly what we're looking at right now. Now, the scene is actually a little difficult to see simply because the fog is rolling in. But as I push it, you see the blue ones, those are the patrol officers, station officers. The red ones will be medic as well as fire. They've been out here ever since this plane did come down. We're not sure exactly the reason why the plane crash happened. King Salt was on the other end of the airport. She tells me, I talked to her moments ago, she tells me that a press conference will be starting in about 20 minutes. And we're gonna be taking that live, or we're gonna be streaming it, depending on what the situation is. But we're gonna be staying on this scene for the rest of the day and let you know the very latest as it becomes available. Live in Statesville, I'm on WBTV on your screen.
They came in through the tree. And when that thing hit the ground, it blew the
why do you guys want me back on camera?
Holy shit. Looking for the set screws and I heard. Jake. They came in through the tree. When that thing hit the ground, it blew the flats.
Hunters participated in coordinating hunting groups. They engaged in a dangerous, terrorizing campaign against the wolves using bait and wolf calls. They hunted at night. They used dogs. 188 wolves were taken by dogs. They killed 130 wolf pups. There were left.
Jake. They came in through the tree. And when that thing hit the ground, it blew the flaps of the shot open. Holy shit. Looking for the set screws and I heard.
Did I ask you what camera, what church you saw? Because obviously being over where I am, I'm kind of fan.
Said I saw it.
Jake. They came in through the tree. And when that thing hit the ground, it blew the flaps of the shot open. Holy shit. Looking for the set screws and I heard.
Said I saw it.
Jake.
Said I saw it.
They came in through the tree. And when that thing hit the ground, it blew the flaps of the shot
Said I saw it.
open. Holy shit. Looking for the set screws and I heard.
Said I saw it.
Jake.
Said I saw it.
They came in through the tree. And when that thing hit the ground, it blew the flaps of the shot open.
Said I saw it.
Holy shit. Looking for the set screws and I heard. came in through the trees. When that thing hit the ground, it blew the flaps in the shop open. Oh shit! Looking for the set screws and I heard. Jake, yeah. He came in through the trees. When that thing hit the ground, it blew the flaps in the shop open. Oh shit! Looking for the set screws and I heard. Jake, yeah. He came in through the trees. When that thing hit the ground, it blew the flaps in the shop open. Oh shit! Looking for the set screws and I heard. Jake, yeah. I saw it. He came in through the trees. When that thing hit the ground, it blew the flaps in the shop open. Oh shit! Looking for the set screws and I heard. Jake, yeah. He came in through the trees. When that thing hit the ground, it blew the flaps in the shop open. Oh shit! Looking for the set screws and I heard. Jake, yeah. He came in through the trees. When that thing hit the ground, it blew the flaps in the shop open. Oh shit! Looking for the set screws and I heard. Jake, yeah. He came in through the trees. When that thing hit the ground, it blew the flaps in the shop open. Oh shit! Looking for the set screws and I heard. Jake, yeah. He came in through the trees. When that thing hit the ground, it blew the flaps in the shop open. Oh shit! Looking for the set screws and I heard. Jake,
I said I saw it.
It came in through the tree.
And when that thing hit the ground, it blew the flaps in the shop.
I said I saw it.
Holy shit.
Looking for the set screws and I heard.
I said I saw it.
Jake, it came in through the tree.
And when that thing hit the ground, it blew the flaps in the shop. I said I saw it. Holy shit.
Looking for the set screws and I heard. Jake, it came in through the tree.
And when that thing hit the ground, it blew the flaps in the shop. Holy shit. I said I saw it.
Looking for the set screws and I heard. Jake, it came in through the tree.
And when that thing hit the ground, it blew the flaps in the shop. Holy shit.
Looking for the set screws and I heard. Jake, it came in through the tree.
And when that thing hit the ground, it blew the flaps in the shop. Holy shit.
Looking for the set screws and I heard.
Mic check 1 2 3 1 2 3. Everybody have audio.
Jake,
I said I saw it.
it came in through the tree.
And when that thing hit the ground, it blew the flaps in the shop. I said I saw it. Holy shit.
Looking for the set screws and I heard.
I said I saw it.
Jake, it came in through the tree.
And when that thing hit the ground, it blew the flaps in the shop. I said I saw it. Holy shit.
Looking for the set screws and I heard.
He came in through the tree. When that thing hit the ground, it blew the flaps in the shop open.
Jody Smyer with Federal County Emergency Management.
Oh,
Fire Chief, Statesville.
Looking for the set screws in our...
Police Chief, Alright, my name is April Nesbitt. I am the Public Information Officer for the City of Statesville. We're going to provide a short briefing of the incident that happened this morning. At the end of this briefing, we will be taking your questions.
He came in through the tree. And when that thing hit the ground, it blew the flaps in the shop.
City Manager of Statesville. John Ferguson, our airport director.
Oh, shit.
Federal County Emergency Management.
Looking for the set
Chief
screws in our...
David Olney, Police Chief. So we don't have a lot to share this because this is still an active event. But I just wanted to let you know that the city did respond to a crash here at the airport this morning at about 10:15. It's been a multi-agency response. We've got city, county, state, feds.
He came in through the tree.
Everybody is
When that thing hit the ground, it blew the flaps in the shop.
open sometime. Since we don't have a lot of information to share today, and since this is evolving, either the city or other agencies are taking lead. With that, I'm going to turn it over to John Ferguson.
Thank you. Good morning. Like we said, approximately 10:15 a.m., we got reported a corporate jet that crashed off the end of the runway on the east end. Actually, I came out, it was already
He
fully.
came in through the tree.
We've had
And when that thing hit the ground, it blew the flaps in the shop.
arrived about 12 o'clock today. They're taking over the scene. They're taking over the investigation. We have no information on any cause. The airport now is closed until further notice. It takes some time to get the debris off the runway to get it safe again. At this time, I also still don't have any other information that we've already said.
Again, we'll provide updates as soon as we have them.
He came in through the tree. And when that thing hit the ground, it blew the flaps in the shop.
Again, my name is April Nesbitt. It's ANESBIT@statesvilleinc.net. Thank you all.
Looking for the set screws in our... He came in through the tree. And when that thing hit the ground, it blew the flaps in the shop open. Oh, shit. Looking for the set screws in our... He came in through the tree. And when that thing hit the ground, it blew the flaps in the shop open. Oh, shit. Looking for the set screws in our... He came in through the tree. And when that thing hit the ground, it blew the flaps in the shop open.
Usually take a little over a year. I think the average is about 14 months. So not only is it going to be a long day, but for folks there in the Statesville community, it's going to be a long few weeks and months ahead. And honestly, it could be well over a year before we get a firm answer about what happened today. I think back to completely unrelated, but we're talking about the plane crash in D.C. that happened in January. This morning on the news, we talked about how the NTSB will get its final report out sometime in the new year, a year after that plane went down. And we know they are especially careful with these investigations, and painstaking is the word that comes to mind when it comes to how they conduct themselves and the evidence that they gather at the scene, and making sure they come to correct conclusions and not fast conclusions.
For sure. I mean, they understand that people want to get answers. Of course, there are so many questions, but they have to be thorough. And as you said, with the NTSB, they will issue a preliminary report, but it will take at least a year or so, usually, for that full report from the investigators there. And again, this just happened within, we're 2 hours and about 10 minutes now into this. So we are working to get more information. When we do, we'll pass it along. We're going to bring out Larry Sprinkle back in now. Sorry to cut you off, but we wanted to get that information from the officials there at the airport.
Larry, you were mentioning that weather doesn't seem to have been a big issue then?
It's speculation that weather would not be a major factor. We're looking to have the radar once again on a weather computer to show you at the time that the plane crashed, approximately between about 10 and 10:30, no precipitation. Looking at visibility at the time, the visibility was about 2.5 miles at the airport there in Statesville. That wouldn't be a factor. Winds were light. They were about 5 to 10 miles per hour at the surface. Now, as far as elevation, at a couple thousand feet up, making the approach into the airport, basically the same. There was clouds and some fog. Winds were anywhere about 10 to 20 miles an hour. That should not be a major factor. I mean, these are a durable, the Citation is a very durable plane. It normally could handle 2 pilots and
handles far more.
Yeah. Right.
It's a plane. It's a type of aircraft that's used quite often in corporate jets. As speculation once again that weather doesn't seem to be a major factor in this. So what would be the cause? We're certainly not sure. As you said, the FAA will be sending a team of investigators down there right now, and obviously know what the airport heading has. Just a terrible tragedy there in Statesville, and obviously a lot of connections locally to folks who certainly are part of that industry.
Well, here's the thing. Though we still haven't confirmed who might be or might be not on the plane, anytime something like this happens, you're talking possibly up to 10 to 12 people on board that plane. That's going to touch so many lives. For
sure.
And so many families. And as I speak right now, there are family members who are getting the worst news of their lives. And we got to keep the humanity as a part of this when we talk about it, because regardless of who it is, and we'll find out who it is, I'm sure,
right,
in the hours to come, but regardless of who it is, there's people whose lives will permanently change going forward.
And we're in the middle of the holiday season, so people are having thoughts of other things holiday related. But as you said, somebody's going to get some phone calls today with news that they were not expecting to hear. Again, another reason why that investigation has to take some time, why they must be very thorough, and why they won't rush to give information, even though they know that we, the media, and lots of other people have many questions surrounding what happened with this plane crash this morning.
Very close-knit community, folks involved in that situation. And as you were saying, there are people that we may know, and obviously people who are watching us right now that we see and certainly are aware of some of the folks who fly that type of plane, another plane, and our prayers go out to the families of all those people.
Because again, we know it's owned, the plane, because we can go through some of our processes. We can, look through FAA records, and we can see that the plane is registered by a company owned by Greg Biffle. That doesn't necessarily mean anything. It means exactly just that it was owned by Greg Biffle.
Yes.
We've got Bria Smith. She's standing by. She was listening into that news conference. She's there on scene. All right, Bria, give us an idea. Assess the scene. Explain where you are as it pertains to everything else and what else is happening around you.
When that thing
Yeah, Ben, well, we are here at the Statesville Regional Airport, and like you mentioned just minutes ago, we did hear from city and airport officials. I'm going to step out of the frame here so you can take a look behind me at that runway there. Now, what we do know is that a Cessna C550 plane crashed while attempting to land at the Statesville Regional Airport around 10:15 this morning. Now, like you all mentioned, the FAA registry has the owner of the plane listed as GB Aviation Leasing LLC. That company is owned by former Nascar driver Greg Biffle, and the address listed also matches his house in Mooresville. Now, Iredell County and the city of Statesville emergency response personnel are currently working this incident. Multiple agencies and crews are all hands on deck here. The FAA arrived on scene approximately at 12 p.m. investigating this incident. Now, one man we did have the chance to speak with, who works for a separate electrician company, tells us as soon as he saw a big cloud of smoke and flames, he knew the incident had to be bad. Another woman reached out to us earlier saying she and her family have spoken out on many concerns and difficulties regarding planes landing here at the airport. Now, the FAA saying they will post an incident report usually within the next business day of these initial incidents. The National Transportation Safety Board is leading this investigation. Now, information is short at the moment, but as we continue to learn more, we will bring you updated information. Back to you guys.
All right, Bria Smith there in Statesville. Bria, thank you so much for that report. Stand by. We'll probably check back in with you in just a few minutes as we, again, working to get more information about this. We know that a number of you may be seeing things on social media, but we want to report to you the information that we get from officials that we know to be true and accurate. Again, regarding that plane crash this morning at the Statesville Regional Airport. We heard from the airport director earlier saying that they don't have any information right now on a cause. We're going to sing things over to our Megan Bragg. She joins us in the studio now. Megan, I know you're doing some verify.
Yeah, and you know, guys, when something like this happens, you see a lot on social media. It's really important to take a breath and really focus on what we have confirmed so far. So I'm going to go through some of the things that I'm seeing on social media. A lot of these on X right now. This is what I saw, that the plane was registered to NASCAR driver Greg Biffle, and it has crashed. They're saying it's a Cessna C550. Well, we can confirm that right now. What you saw in that press conference was they were saying it's a Cessna C550. And so it is owned by a private company, GB Aviation Leasing LLC. We do know that the contract on record is Greg Biffle, but this is the big one that I have been seeing on social media right now. Like I said, you need to take a breath and really have things confirmed. They are confirming, they were saying that he has died. Now, we do not know any of the victims right now. They have not been named. Like you saw, that press conference was very brief, very to the point. There's still a lot that is needs to be verified and investigated. So we are still waiting to learn more, but I'm going to be looking through social media and verifying for you all afternoon. So if you do have questions, feel free to send them into us, WCNC, verify at WCNC.com, guys.
All right, 12:45. If you're just now joining us, we are following breaking news here on WCNC Charlotte. A plane crashed this morning around 10:15 at the Statesville Regional Airport. At this point, we know it was a Cessna Citation. It could carry between 9 to 12 people. Configuration. The plane built back in 1981, and as you heard, registered to a company related to NASCAR driver Greg Biffle.
Correct. Again, not a lot of information right now from officials. We don't know how many people were on board that plane. We've not yet received that information. We did get a little bit of information during that news conference that happened just about 15 minutes ago. I think we're going to play that for you so you can hear what we got from the officials there at Statesville Regional Airport.
All right, my name is April Nesbitt. I am the Public Information Officer for the City of Statesville. We're going to provide a short briefing of the incident that happened this morning. At the end of this briefing, we will not be taking any questions. I just want to give you the heads up on this. So I'm going to introduce you Ron Smith, City Manager for the City of Statesville.
I'm Ron Smith. I'm the City Manager in Statesville. To my left is John Ferguson, our Airport Director. Jody Smyer, who's with Iredell County Emergency Management. Chief David Only, Police Chief, and Chief Glenn Purfley is our Fire Chief. So we don't have a lot to share this morning, as this is still an active event. But I just wanted to let you know that the city did respond to a crash here at the airport this morning at about 10:15. it's been a multi-agency response. We've had city, county, state, feds are here. So we've got, again, everybody is here on site at this point, and we anticipate that this is going to go on for quite some time. Since we don't have a lot of information to share today, and since this is evolving, either the city or other agencies will take the lead in putting out more information as the day goes on. And with that, I'm going to turn it over to John Ferguson.
Thank you. Good morning. Like we said, approximately 10:15 a.m., we got a report of a corporate jet that crashed off the end of the runway on the east end. When actually I came out, it was already fully involved. We've had multiple agencies, as you said, come. The FAA arrived about 12 o'clock today. They're taking over the scene. They're taking over the investigation. We have no information on any cause. The airport now is closed until further notice. It will take some time to get the debris off the runway to get it safe again. At this time, I'm also still don't have any other information than what we've already said. I'll turn this over to, go ahead.
Again, we'll provide updates as soon as we have them in the other agencies. And if you have direct questions that you want answered, you can email those to me, and we will try to get these back to you as soon as possible. Again, my name is April Nesbitt. It's ANESBIT at statesvillenc.net. Thank you all.
For the set screws and
And again, that was that news conference held within the hour there at Statesville Regional Airport regarding that plane crash that happened this morning around 10:15. As we know, a plane was attempting to land there.
We can tell you as we were listening to that, we did get confirmation from the Iredell County Sheriff's Office that in fact multiple people have died in this plane crash. It was widely assumed, given what we know about the nature of the plane, given what we know about the nature of the crash, what we've seen. But the Sheriff's Office is now confirming multiple deaths in that plane crash. As of right now, when it comes to plane crashes, a commercial flight will keep a passenger manifest, is what they call it. And that's a running list of every single passenger that was on board a plane. And so after a plane crash like that, somebody, even if it's not shared with the public, will have a list of everybody who was on that board. Keep in mind, when it comes to private planes like this, commercial charters like this, it might not have an exact list of who's on board, which might make it slightly delayed in terms of what we know about who was on officially and why they might have been there. So just wanting to set expectations there that when it comes to private planes like this, it's a little different as far as the records that are kept.
And what we know based on this type of plane, we know that it can accommodate up to 10 passengers there. So we have that number, but no concrete details on the exact number of people who were on board.
Single pilot on this as well.
Yes.
I'm not sure exactly the configuration of the Cessna C550 is identified. And then obviously the question is, could weather play a part? Could it have been a thunderstorm, could it have been fog? But at the time, it was relatively stable. There was fog in the area around the surface. Visibility was somewhere from about 2.5 miles. And there were no storms, there was no rain at that time.
Right.
And when you make the approach, we are looking at a frontal boundary coming through. So at the elevation, we're up about 10,000, 15,000 feet. There may be a little turbulence up there, but certainly as it made the approach to the runway, visibility was not an issue, and also we didn't see any storms. There was no cloud going on, anything like that that caused any concern.
And we should say a corporate jet is designed to...
Without a doubt.
Yes.
This is not a small little plane.
No, it's not. Those are very durable planes that can fly through storms and whatever. And, pilots are trained to fly around the storm anyway. So I think as it made its approach, a little fog, some lighter winds at the surface, there were no major weather issues. So that's only speculation that weather shouldn't have been a factor, but we're not exactly sure. We're not sure exactly the cause. That's all just speculation, as you were talking about earlier. That's the FAA. They send a team of experts in to examine.
Correct.
And we should say a regional airport like this one is used to seeing jets like this, small aircraft like this, of all shapes and sizes. That gives you an idea of what we're talking about now.
This is similar to that. We're not sure this is not the exact plane at all,
Correct.
but it is a Cessna, something like this. And you were saying that maybe up to 10 passengers could be on there. We're not sure.
Right.
Also depending on the number of pilots as well. Can use at times 2, perhaps 1. But these regional airports see things like this all the time, and they see, we've mentioned this is owned by NASCAR driver Greg Biffle, but they see them. Listen, we've got a multitude of sports here in the Carolinas, whether it's NASCAR, whether it's one of our professional teams, and these people have, and oftentimes, tremendous wealth and have planes that go with it. So an airport like this is often also very equipped to deal with traffic like this.
And particularly in that area, because there are a lot of those, that type of plane that fly into the Statesville Airport with all of the race teams based within the area, so they use the Statesville Airport quite often to make those meetings. And yeah, they're very well prepared for it. We certainly have spoken to reporters up there, and some of the reports coming that, obviously the airport can handle that type of
Yes, and certainly this type of year. I mean, just the ease of airport like that, as opposed to Charlotte Douglas, which is much larger. You have more of the commercial aircraft going in and out of there. So we will continue to follow this story. Again, if you are just joining us, breaking news that we're on top of right now, a plane crashed this morning. The plane attempting to land at the Statesville Regional Airport around 10:15 this morning. We do know from the Iredell County Sheriff that there are multiple people who have died as a result of this crash. We don't know how many people were on board that plane. Again, hoping to get more information, but we know it's going to be quite some time before officials are able to release a lot of details about exactly what happened there this morning.
We know the FAA showed up just about an hour ago, within an hour and a half of the initial impact of landing there. We also know at this point the debris is still very much on the runway. It's still fresh, less than 2 hours after it happened, and we know the airport now is closed because of it, as they just really in earnest begin parts of that investigation.
We heard from the director of the airport, John Ferguson, during that news conference that happened around 12:40 this afternoon. And he said they heard the report of a corporate jet that crashed on the east end of the runway. He actually went out and says that he saw that jet there in flames. Again, the FAA taking over this investigation. They have said no info right now on the cause because it is simply so early. This is breaking news, of course.
And the sheriff confirming for us in just the last 5 or so minutes that they are expecting multiple deaths in this plane crash, which is not a surprise given what we know about the crash and the plane, but that information confirming now from the Sheriff's Department. At this point, we're not even clear about how many people were on board the plane, just to be transparent with you all at home. As we've said, it can hold up to 10 passengers, maybe 2 pilots, but there's nothing telling us right now that were that many people on board the plane when it went down just after 10 o'clock this morning.
And again, that plane was a Cessna Citation II, also known as the Model 550. And as you said, it can accommodate, according to online records, up to 10 passengers, including 2 pilots, but it can also be piloted by just one person, one pilot.
This area, there's so many of the NASCAR teams that use aviation standard. From the smaller jets like this to even largers. I mean, there are a number of companies that lease jets out to fly them around. And, obviously, once again, the season's over. But, those individuals involved in that community are busy. They're always at conferences and flying all over the United States. And so, once again, we're not, we know that there are people watching right now who probably think that they may know someone. We don't know exactly who was on that flight.
We don't indeed. And just to your point, Larry, looking at the Statesville Regional Airport's website, they're saying this airport provides corporate aviation for Fortune 500 companies and for several NASCAR teams. So we know that they are used to seeing planes like this coming in and out of the airport there in Statesville.
Yeah, the airport is certainly prepared for it. It's not any fault of the airport at all.
To the point, though, you're making, we do not know who was on board the plane. And it might be that no one in particular knows that right now because private planes like this, corporate planes like this aren't required to keep the same passenger manifest as, say, a regular commercial airline or something like that, where they can tell you exactly this person was sitting in row, 15B. It's not quite the same, so it could be that information about particular individuals might come out a little slower than it typically would.
For sure, so we should not make any assumption. And again, once we get an official information from the FAA, from NTSB, we'll certainly pass that along to you.
Do we still have live pictures available, control room? We do not have them available. We do have, we'll go back to this photo.
Once again, this is not the plane, but it's similar. This is the similar
We think it's important because we know when we say Cessna Citation, that does not mean a lot to a lot of people.
For sure.
So we want to show you this as just a representation of You know, we're not talking about a small two-seater plane. We're not also talking about a jumbo jet. We're talking about something like this.
Yes.
You know, it's a corporate jet that can fly a team, whether it be a sports team or whether it be a corporate team, you know, to and from a destination. Larry, to your point, in this professional sports world, in some cases, this is the price of entry. It's one of the most extravagant prices of entry.
Yes.
But you need something like this when you are a high-profile person needing to get where you need to go.
And you know, this other thing, if you look back historically, there have been plane crashes carrying some people who were involved with NASCAR.
Yep.
Very well known.
Some who were drivers and who were pilots as well, others not. Some were in management, but it's a sad situation. It's heartbreaking to know that this is our community. These are our people. We know some of these people very well, although no one has been identified this way.
Regardless.
Right. Somewhere, someone is getting the information.
These are families.
Yes.
You know, a week out from Christmas, getting ready to celebrate, and instead getting news like this. Again, just the breaking news of the day so far here on WCNC Charlotte. A plane crash upon landing just after 10 o'clock this morning there at the Statesville Regional Airport. According to public records obtained by WCNC Charlotte, we can tell you that it's owned by a company owned by NASCAR driver Greg Biffle. That's as far as we can tell you at this point. This sort of aircraft, a Cessna Citation, has up to 2 pilots and can hold up to 10 passengers. We also don't know how many passengers it was actually carrying.
And we don't know the names of any of the passengers who were on board. We do know that the Statesville Regional Airport is closed until further notice as a result of this plane crash. We know that the FAA officials got there within the hour, so they have already started their investigation. And it's just going to take some time before we are able to get more details from them. When we do, of course, we will pass that information along to you right now. But they want to be very thorough as possible, conducting the investigation and then passing that information on to us. So it will be a long day, not only today, but for the days and weeks and months to come. It could be a year or longer before we get the final report on this crash.
So oftentimes the NTSB will initial just an initial report in the first day or two, but then the average investigation can take 12 to 14 months before we get a official conclusion or something like that.
And once again, just the general meteorological conditions, the weather at that time, there were no major issues. There was some fog in the area, but not heavy fog, some lighter winds, and certainly no rain or storm. So this is it's a calmer time of the year. Certainly there's no winter storm or any type of severe weather threat. So the speculation that weather may have not been a major factor.
All right.
We're going to keep our eyes on this situation here. Breaking news coming out of Statesville. For the very latest, you can tune into WCNC Plus, the latest developments on this crash.
It came in through the tree. And when that thing hit the ground, it blew the flaps in the shop open in the bin. Holy shit. Looking for the set screws and I heard. Jake, It came in through the tree. And when that thing hit the ground, it blew the flaps in the shop open in the bin. Holy shit. Looking for the set screws and I heard. Jake, It came in through the tree. And when that thing hit the ground, it blew the flaps in the shop open in the bin. Holy shit. Looking for the set screws and I heard. Came in through the tree. And when that thing hit the ground, it blew the flaps in the shop open in the bin. Holy shit. Looking for the set screws and I heard. Jake, yeah. Came in through the tree. And when that thing hit the ground, it blew the flaps in the shop open in the bin. Holy shit. Looking for the set screws and I heard. Jake, yeah. Came in through the tree. And when that thing hit the ground, it blew the flaps in the shop open in the bin. Holy shit. Looking for the set screws and I heard. Jake, yeah. Came in through the tree. And when that thing hit the ground, it blew the flaps in the shop open in the bin. Holy shit. Looking for the set screws and I heard. Jake, yeah. Came in through the tree. And when that thing hit the ground, it blew the flaps in the shop open in the bin. Holy shit. Looking for the set screws and I heard. Jake, yeah. Came in through the tree.
Chief, Statesville. David Only, Police Chief for Statesville.
Would you step up? Could you please just say your name again just for the protocol?
Absolutely.
And I'm going to introduce them.
Thank you.
Yep.
All right, my name is April Nesbitt. I am the Public Information Officer for the City of Statesville. We're going to provide a short briefing of the incident that happened this morning. At the end of this briefing, we will not be taking any questions. Just want to give you the heads up on that. So I'm going to introduce you to Ron Smith, City Manager for the City of Statesville.
Good morning. My name is Ron Smith. I'm the City Manager in Statesville. To my left is John Ferguson, our Airport Director. Jody Smyer, he's with Iredell County Emergency Management. Chief David Only, Police Chief, and Chief Glenn Curfeys, our Fire Chief. So we don't have a lot to share this morning as this is still an active event, but I just wanted to let you know that the city did respond to a crash here at the airport this morning at about 10:15. It's been a multi-agency response. We've had City, county, state, feds are here. So we have had, again, everybody is here on site at this point, and we anticipate that this is going to go on for quite some time. Since we don't have a lot of information to share today, and since this is evolving, either the city or other agencies will take the lead in putting out more information as the day goes on. And with that, I'm going to turn it over to John Ferguson, our airport director.
Thank you. Good morning. Like we said, approximately 10:15 a.m., we got a report of a corporate jet that crashed off the end of the runway on the east end. When actually I came out, it was already fully involved. We've had multiple agencies, as you said, come. The FAA arrived about 12 o'clock today. They're taking over the scene. They're taking over the investigation. We have no information on any cause. The airport now is closed until further notice. It will take some time to get the debris off the runway to get it safe again. At this time, I'm also still don't have any other information than what we've already said. I turn this over to, go ahead.
Again, we'll provide updates as soon as we have them, either by us or other agencies. And if you have direct questions that you want answered, you can email those to me, and we will try to get these back to you as soon as possible. Again, my name is April Nesbitt. It's ANESBIT at statesvilleinc.net. Thank you all.
Did it happen during landing?
So you were just listening into a very brief but helpful press conference from officials at the Statesville Regional Airport. This was from within the last hour or so, last 45 minutes or so, and even since then we've got new information. We now know from the Iredell County Sheriff there were multiple deaths on this plane crash. We do not know how many or who, and that is kind of where we bring in our Megan Bragg with verifying some of the information that's been going around. Obviously this is a big talker because we know that this plane is associated with NASCAR legend Greg Biffle, but there's a lot of unverified reports out.
Right. And I just want to make sure that everybody who is listening and they're looking at their X feed or Facebook or Instagram, TikTok, whatever, know that, we are a news organization that will continue to confirm information and instead of just putting it out there, because it is irresponsible to just put it out there. Even if you are hearing something, it needs to be confirmed through officials. And you saw how quick that press conference was, is because they're still trying to piece the puzzle together or figure it out and even contact other family members.
They even said we're not taking questions.
Right, exactly, because there is so much that is still going on in this investigation, so we really want to make it clear. There's a lot of speculation on who was on that plane. We do know that it was contracted to Greg Biffle, but we don't know who was on the plane. So before making speculations on who has passed away or anything like that, just know that we are working to confirm who was on that plane. But like you said, Julie, we do know that there's multiple fatalities. We also do know that the plane was, and I'm trying to remember the name off the top of my head.
Cessna C550?
550, and it was.
I just Googled it just to give people like it's an idea of what it looks like. A small corporate jet. This is just Google images just to give people at home a sense of what this kind of plane looks like.
And like I said, contracted out to Greg Biffle. So we do know that he has some association with it, but we don't know if he was on the plane himself. So I just want to put a pause on everybody who is maybe seeing those things on social media to know that we don't know that information yet, and it could be pretty damaging to retweet or share that out because we just don't know yet, and will continue to work on information, but not good to spread misinformation. So
especially for any families involved.
Exactly.
Obviously, no matter who this was, there are grieving families.
Absolutely.
Right now.
Absolutely.
It's hard not to speculate when you've got a public figure related to this somehow, but I mean, I completely agree. Transparency, for the sake of transparency, that is why we are not saying anything.
Also, too, just remember that, when it comes to the FAA and these investigations, it does take a while until the whole picture be clear in the reason behind it. They usually don't release that full report until months and months later, so it will take a little while to investigate this case.
Now, I also know that I just want to be clear that we are using public information as well. These are all publicly found documents. Of course, we're taking the time to sift through, and I know our Nate Morbido is in there looking through some documents as well, but this is all stuff that you can publicly find if you know where to look. And so that is why people have gotten this information, that this is who this plane was owned by. I know Carlene has up this FAA registry, so you can see exactly. So even if you go from, this is the plane that we know from FlightAware, that's how we got the information about exactly what type of plane it is. From there, I was able to search about a Cessna Citation 2.
Serial number.
Yep. Typically seats about 9 people. The configurations can vary. We don't know the exact configuration of this plane, but as we said, it's a small plane. And from there, we were able to look up who this is related to. And so it is affiliated with, I believe, GB Aviation Leasing LLC, which has one contract, and that is with Greg Biffle. So that is how we got to this point.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So a lot of questions still. I'm not quite sure. Carlene, is there anywhere in particular that we haven't hit on in a while that we need to go from here?
We can show this map once again, just to give people, again, this is Statesville Airport, but it is kind of a bit farther away from like Statesville proper.
Yep.
And we do have.
Do we have that flight tracker that shows? Let's see if we can pull that up real quick. Yeah, so our Brad Panovich is a real big expert, shocker to no one, on all things weather, of course, but also he's really big into this transportation, flights. He knows a lot about this, and so he was actually able to make a graphic from. Go ahead. It's okay. While you're working on this, I can explain what's happening here. He's able to make a graphic showing the flight path that we get from FlightAware. For those of you who are familiar with, tracking people's flights and things like that, he was able to make a graphic showing that this.
For some reason, the clip is being funky. I do not know why.
If you want to actually, are you able to pull up just the screenshot of it?
Yes.
Like, let's do that. That way that people can see, because that was the ending moment where you could see that what he was really trying to show is that it took off, kind of came right back around. We know from FlightAware that this took off a little past 10 a.m., and we know from officials that it crashed around 10:15 at the same airport it took off from in Statesville. So not in the air for very long. We do not know what that means about whether there were issues on board. Again, no information about why it crashed. Larry Sprinkle will be here in a bit with explaining the forecast and whether or not that relates to this at all. But notable, too, that it was only in the air for a little bit, and the flight pattern that Brad was able to make shows it not reaching the official landing spot that it was supposed to. I know that you're seeing a map of Florida here. That is where we believe it was intended to go. Because it lists, you're supposed to register your upcoming flights when you've got a private plane like this. And so via FlightAware, you can see that it was supposed to, I believe, go to Sarasota.
Correct.
So obviously did not make it there. But it was supposed to be an hour-long flight, only in the air for, I think, about 10 minutes around then. So really brings up a lot of questions about, what happened, why did they turn around, was there some issue on board? All these are questions that we're hoping to get answered from officials very soon. Now, Megan brought up a really good point that we hit on at the top of the show, which is NTSB reports, the National Transportation Safety Board. They are taking over this investigation, of course. Those reports take a very, very long time. However, the FAA does the preliminary report. That typically comes out within the day. The FAA sent us a statement explaining that, saying, of course, this is all preliminary information that's subject to change. But typically, within a situation like this, they're able to get a preliminary report out within another business day. So hopefully by tomorrow we'll get that, hoping we get more information very soon. Of course, the Iredell County Sheriff is speaking with not just us, but our news partners at FMY in Greensboro, and they were able to confirm within the last 15 minutes, 20 minutes, that there were multiple deaths on board. And so that, of course, is heartbreaking information, and we do not know who those deaths are or how many, but it just does speak to how quickly we are learning information here, and that officials are doing their very best to communicate this as soon as they figure stuff out, Carlene. I mean, even in this press conference that we're going to play again, as I said, we're going to keep playing this until...
We're going to play what we know.
Which is not much right now.
Not much, and we know that people log on at different times and join the stream at different times. So we're going to keep kind of doing like this wheel as with the details that we do know, and when we find out new information, we will add to the wheel. So let's play that conference.
Yeah, we're going to play that conference, and no, it is very short. But again, even at the top of the press conference, one of the officials says we're not taking questions. They're very transparent at the top. That's probably because they do not know. Or it's not.
It's a sensitive thing as well.
It's a sensitive thing.
This takes time.
Right, and they don't want to misspeak either.
Correct.
So either they do not know or it's information they're not able to share yet for all sorts of reasons. Again, we're talking about notifying grieving families, making sure you're able to reach all of the people that need to be reached first. And so this is very sensitive as a topic, and that is why, we appreciate...
We have to be delicate with it.
We have to be delicate.
We have to be delicate. That's our responsibility to you as a news outlet. The officials, of course, investigating this have to be delicate. This is a very sensitive and serious incident.
So let's play this press conference again, and then I will recap what you hear.
Chief, Statesville, David Only, Police Chief for Statesville.
When you step up, could you please just say your name again, just for protocol?
Absolutely.
And I'm going to introduce them.
Thank you.
Yep.
All right, my name is April Nesbitt. I am the Public Information Officer for the City of Statesville. We're going to provide a short briefing of the incident that happened this morning. At the end of this briefing, we will not be taking any questions. Just want to give you a heads up on that. So I'm going to introduce you to Ron Smith, City Manager for the City of Statesville.
Good morning. My name is Ron Smith. I'm the City Manager in Statesville. To my left is John Ferguson, our Airport Director. Jody Smyer, he's with Iredell County Emergency Management. Chief David Only, Police Chief, and Chief Glenn Curfew, our Fire Chief. So we don't have a lot to share this morning, as this is still an active event. But I just wanted to let you know that the city did respond to a crash here at the airport this morning at about 10:15. It's been a multi-agency response. We've had city, county, state, feds are here. So we've had, again, everybody is here on site at this point, and we anticipate that this is going to go on for quite some time. Since we don't have a lot of information to share today, and since this is evolving, either the city or other agencies will take the lead in putting out more information as the day goes on. And with that, I'm going to turn it over to John Ferguson, our Airport Director.
Thank you. Good morning. Like we said, approximately 10:15 a.m., we got a report of a corporate jet that crashed off the end of the runway on the east end. When actually I came out, it was already fully involved. We've had multiple agencies, as we said, come. The FAA arrived about 12 o'clock today. They're taking over the scene. They're taking over the investigation. We have no information on any cause. The airport now is closed until further notice. It will take some time to get the debris off the runway to get it safe again. At this time, I also still don't have any other information than what we've already said. I'll turn this over to, go ahead, you do it.
Again, we'll provide updates as soon as we have them, either by us or other agencies. And if you have direct questions that you want answered, you can email those to me, and we will try to get these back to you as soon as possible. Again, my name is April Nesbitt. It's ANESBIT at statesvillenc.net. Thank you all.
No number of people on the plane?
It happened during landing.
All right, so that was the press conference from within the last hour with officials in Statesville at the regional airport there. And we have since learned even more information, which really just speaks to how quickly this is developing. This is how big breaking news works. The information trickles in. I know right now it may seem like I'm repeating myself, but I will continue to do that for people that are joining us. Because right now we simply don't know very much information. We do know, unfortunately, that there are multiple deaths in this plane crash. What we know about the plane is that it was owned by or is associated with a company owned by Greg Biffle, Nascar legend. We do not know that he was on the plane. We do not know who was on the plane, and we do not know how many deaths were involved. Yes. What we do know as well is that this plane probably carried about maximum 9 people, though configurations vary. It's a small corporate jet.
Let me show again what it looks like for people in case you're wondering. This
So-
is the Cessna C550.
Very small plane, what you would typically expect from a Statesville Regional Airport.
Correct.
The appropriate size. Now, Statesville Regional Airport is owned by the city, but they do actually work with multiple NASCAR teams. And that is kind of adding to the connection here with Greg Biffle, although, of course, we have not confirmed any information about his whereabouts at this particular moment. We are also not showing any videos or pictures at this time of the crash. We know that these are circulating on social media, but we are waiting to verify ourselves and make sure we get the appropriate credit. That being said, we do have multiple crews now on the way to the scene. So Bria Smith and Kevin Wardlaw, our reporter and photographer duo, they were there at that press conference. They are now headed to a closer scene to hopefully get a look at what the tarmac looks like right now. And then we also have Miles Harris, who I believe is on the way to, the Speedway, potentially?
Potentially.
A different location.
A different location.
Associated with some of the questions that we have right now. Trying to figure out more information about, any relation here, what happened here, and just getting, honestly, reaction from people.
Correct.
Because
We're working on getting Brad Panovich in here, who we've said he knows a little bit about everything, but he's a kind of a utility player in these situations, especially when it comes to aviation and things like that, and how maybe if weather impact, if it did at all, if weather had an impact at all.
Yeah, and I know Larry Sprinkle was trying to break that down earlier with the preliminary information, so it will be nice to get Brad in here, breaking it down even further. Just for transparency's sake, this happened around 10:15 in the morning. The plane was not in the air for very long. A lot of our people work a night shift, and so they don't come in until 3, and so people like Brad and
Our sports team,
Danielle,
everybody, a lot of our reporters, we're trying to get all hands on deck at this moment.
Yeah, so people are actively coming in on their off days. People are coming in before their shift starts, but particularly some experts in this field, sports and weather, tend to come in later in the day. So that is why we don't have them quite yet. But just to recap, multiple deaths. We do not know who they are. We know the plane is associated with retired NASCAR driver Greg Biffle, and we are hoping to get some more information on that soon. But for now, we're going to try and gather some more information and take a look at this map while we gather, just so you can get some grounding of where this happened. And when we get a live picture from that scene, we will bring it to you as soon as we get it.
Jake. He came in through the tree. And when that thing hit the ground, it blew the flaps in the shop open. Holy shit. Looking for the set screws and I heard. Jake, yeah. He came in through the tree. And when that thing hit the ground, it blew the flaps in the shop open. Holy shit. Looking for the set screws and I heard. Jake, yeah. He came in through the tree. And when that thing hit the ground, it blew the flaps in the shop open. Holy shit. Looking for the set screws and I heard. Jake, yeah. He came in through the tree. And when that thing hit the ground, it blew the flaps in the shop opening the bin. Holy shit. Looking for the set screws and I heard. Jake, yeah. They came in through the tree. And when that thing hit the ground, it blew the flaps in the shop open in the bin. Holy shit. Looking for the set screws and I heard. Jake, yeah. They came in through the tree. And when that thing hit the ground, it blew the flaps in the shop open in the bin. Holy shit. Looking for the set screws and I heard.
You're watching Live Impact News here on WCNC Charlotte. Our Julie Kay is actually on the phone right now working to get more details surrounding this crash, this deadly crash right now at the Statesville Airport. In the meantime, we're going to play back the press conference that happened just within the past hour from Statesville officials. Here, let's listen in.
Chief, Statesville. David Only, Police Chief for Statesville.
Would you step up, could you please just say your name again just for code?
Absolutely.
And I'm going to introduce them.
Thank you.
Yep.
All right, my name is April Nesbitt. I am the Public Information Officer for the City of Statesville. We're going to provide a short briefing of the incident that happened this morning. At the end of this briefing, we will not be taking any questions. Just want to give you the heads up on that. So I'm going to introduce you to Ron Smith, City Manager for the City of Statesville.
Good morning. My name is Ron Smith. I'm the City Manager in Statesville. To my left is John Ferguson, our Airport Director. Jody Smyer, he's with Iredell County Emergency Management. Chief David Only, Police Chief, and Chief Glenn Curfey is our Fire Chief. So we don't have a lot to share this morning as this is still an active event, but I just wanted to let you know that the city did respond to a crash here at the airport this morning at about 10:15. It's been a multi-agency response. We've had city, county, state, feds are here, so we have had, again, everybody is here on site at this point, and we anticipate that this is going to go on for quite some time. Since we don't have a lot of information to share today, and since this is evolving, either the city or other agencies will take the lead in putting out more information as the day goes on. And with that, I'm going to turn it over to John Ferguson, our Airport Director.
Thank you. Good morning. Like we said, approximately 10:15 a.m., we got a report of a corporate jet that crashed off the end of the runway on the east end. When actually I came out, it was already fully involved. We've had multiple agencies, as you said, come. The FAA arrived about 12 o'clock today. They're taking over the scene. They're taking over the investigation. We have no information on any cause. The airport now is closed until further notice. It will take some time to get the debris off the runway to get it safe again. At this time, I'm also still don't have any other information than what we've already said. I turn this over to, you go ahead, you do it.
Again, we'll provide updates as soon as we have them, either be us or other agencies. And if you have direct questions that you want answered, you can email those to me, and we will try to get these back to you as soon as possible. Again, my name is April Nesbitt. It's ANESBIT @statesvillenc.net. Thank you all.
No number of people on the plane.
Did it happen during landing?
When that thing hit the ground, it blew the flaps of the shot.
All right, so that was the latest information that we got from officials in Statesville. That was from about an hour and 15 minutes ago or so now. We brought that to you live on WCNC as it happened, and then Ben and Lisa broke down what we know. Since then, though, we have learned even more information, heartbreaking information. We know that multiple deaths are confirmed. We do not know how many deaths. We do not know how many people were on this plane. We do have some information about the plane itself. You can see the crash site here a few miles away from Statesville itself. And we are waiting any minute now for an aviation attorney to actually break down what he knows about this plane model, his experience working with them. And so we're going to have him hop on shortly. But I just wanted to remind you of everything we know thus far. Yes, we do know that this is connected somewhat to Greg Biffle. So that is a NASCAR legend who owns a company that is associated with this plane. We know that through public records. You're able to go through the FAA, through FlightAware to see which plane this was, and then see how that plane serial number connects to the FAA. So that is how we found out via public information that this is associated with Greg Biffle with GB Aviation Leasing LLC, a company that he owns. It only has one contract, and it is with him. That is not to say that he was on this plane. That is all information we have not gotten confirmed from officials. Honestly, given the state of this investigation and how sensitive this topic is, I expect that confirmation of who or who was not on this plane to take a while. The NTSB, we know, is doing the official investigation and taking that over now. But those tend to take, sometimes upwards of a year. The FAA has also reached out to us. They have confirmed that they are also on scene. We know that they have been there cleaning up debris. Of course, the airport, as you heard, is closed while they continue that cleanup, making sure everything is safe. But the FAA will also give us a preliminary report. So that is the first official report that we are likely to get from any of these federal officials, and that could come as early as tomorrow. But speaking of experts, we've actually got Chief Meteorologist Brad Panovich here, who came in early to help us with this breaking news. So, Brad, I'm curious, what did you first find out, and what was your first jump? Because you were one of the first people to help us figure out this FlightAware situation and how this was connected.
Yeah, so initially, like most people, I started getting tagged in a bunch of crash footage from the Statesville Airport, and it looked pretty fiery. And knowing the Statesville Airport, I knew it had to be a pretty significant plane because it wasn't a smaller prop plane. It was definitely a jet aircraft of some kind, because that's definitely jet fuel that I saw burning. So I immediately started looking at the flight data, which is all public, and I can see that the plane took off and circled back and came back to the airport, which tells you just on that sense that they had some kind of mechanical issue of some kind, because if it was something on the takeoff or landing, you could be anything, right? But the fact that they took off and immediately circled back to the airport told me they probably were having some kind of trouble. And the one thing about the airport too, the runway goes kind of like west-east. They took off going west. If there was an emergency declared, they kind of came back and landed right back that opposite direction, right? They actually were circling all the way back, coming in the normal approach, which means they had some control over the plane. They were actually able to fly it. But then as it came in, you're seeing the FlightAware data that I pulled up. I'm actually going to pull it up here in a minute. You could see that even though the debris is on the runway, Julie, it didn't really make it to the runway. There's a debris path through the golf course, and it looks like they clipped some trees, maybe a fence or something, and then that's where the plane ended up, which tells you they were losing power. And so all the reports that I heard from the radio traffic was they reported engine trouble. So there's 2 engines on this aircraft. It is certified to fly with just one, but it's a lot harder. Obviously, you need power. The thing about airplanes, you need to force air over the wing to create lift. And there's 2 ways to do that. The engine's forcing it forward, or if you're at altitude, you can actually dive, create lift by pushing air over. It's called gliding, right? But when you're close to the ground, the only thing that creates lift for you is the engine. So the fact that they were close to the ground and had one engine probably contributed to the fact that they didn't have enough power maybe to get all the way to the runway. So that's kind of speculation, but that's just based on the flight data. You can kind of see the flight data they took. And Unfortunately, the fiery crash is always the worst kind of crash that you see, because you always worry about people being able to get out of that one, and we know there are at least confirmed fatalities. We don't know who. As you've been doing a great job saying, we know who owns the plane, but that doesn't tell you on the aircraft. It's like I was telling my friend, I said, I own my car, but my son and my wife drive it. So just because I own it doesn't mean I was in it at the time there's a crash. So you always got to be very careful about who's on the plane versus who owns the plane.
Exactly. And I know that I'm gonna repeat myself probably for the next 3 hours, but I just want to make that incredibly clear, because we have to wait for officials. And even you mentioned some of those that really scary footage that people are seeing on social media. The reason we're waiting to show that is because we need to make sure it's accurate and has the right credit, and so that is why it's taking us a little bit longer. Now, Brad, to your point, you mentioned potentially some sort of mechanical issue. If you wouldn't mind hanging out with us for a second, I believe we have an aviation attorney ready to talk who has worked with some of these planes before. I believe, is that all good to go, Carlene? All right, so I believe we have aviation attorney Pablo Rojas here. Thank you so much for joining us on such short notice. I know that this is, unfortunately, in your line of work, not an unfamiliar scenario, and it's still preliminary in terms of the information that we have. But I would love to get just your initial thoughts, how you learned about this, and what are your first thoughts after hearing about this?
Sure, and I think Brad hit on a lot of the most important facts that, or seemingly facts that we know so far. I learned about it on the news, maybe like anybody else on the internet. We're based in Miami, but we represent victims nationwide. And, once I learned about a plane crash like this is our line of work. We represent victims of plane crashes, and I dug in to learn as much as we can. As you folks were just talking about, we don't know very much right now, but I think Brad nailed it. The flight path that we know so far, the quickness with which the pilots evidently made a decision to turn around and attempt to land again clearly indicates some kind of mechanical issue. Very commonly, when pilots detect an issue with an engine, they detect it right away after takeoff. Takeoff and landing are the two most dangerous parts of any flight. And, any kind of mechanical issue could prompt a pilot to say, wait a minute, we gotta get back to land. This is not safe to continue this flight. But very, very commonly, it's an engine. Now, twin engine aircraft, as Brad was just saying, they can fly with just one. Really, you can fly with zero if you have enough speed and you can get aerodynamic lift. But it is more challenging, and as Brad was just saying, I completely agree. I think the fact that there are tree debris and they didn't make it to the runway suggests that they were losing quite a good deal of power. So we could be thinking about issues with one engine. We could be looking at issues potentially with both, because you should be able to land an aircraft like this running on one engine if everything else is going well.
Yeah, and for non-aviation experts, I'm sure that's actually probably pretty shocking to hear. We do know that they were not in the air for very long, as you mentioned. I believe only about 10 minutes from the latest that we heard from officials, them crashing at around 10:15 this morning, and the FAA already on scene investigating. Now, I know, as I mentioned, this is not unfamiliar in your line of work. This particular plane, the Cessna C550, is this one that you have experience with in the past?
Yeah, Cessna's a very big manufacturer of aircraft. Maybe a lot of your viewers or listeners would have heard of it. And the Citation is their business jets. It's sort of a fancier aircraft. There are different models of Citations. And over the years, like many other aircraft, there have been issues reported. There have been fatal crashes. There have been issues reported in the past related to landing gear. But at this early stage, as you say, the FAA and NTSB are on the ground, if not already, very, very soon. They're going to take exclusive jurisdiction over the wreckage. They're going to conduct the investigation, and hopefully, because I think the families of victims, and from what I've seen on social media, unfortunately, there will be probably several fatalities. They're going to want answers quickly about who was on the flight and what the NTSB has come across. At first glance, it doesn't look like a landing gear issue, because, as Brad was just explaining, they didn't even make it to the runway. I mean, this was a loss of power. So sometimes the information from prior crashes is helpful. Other times you have to wonder whether there's something else going on here that doesn't have to do necessarily with these planes. The other thing I would mention is, engines on aircraft are to some extent interchangeable. So we're looking at obviously a Cessna Citation jet. But if there was a loss of power issue with one or both of the engines, then one thing to look at is what was the make and model of the engine, which comes from a variety of manufacturers. I think once that information is obtained, I haven't seen it, perhaps other folks have been able to get it in the short time since this crash. One thing that will be important to look at is what is the history of incidents involving that type of engine, not necessarily that type of plane.
That's really helpful information too, because I know when we first got this and we were looking up the citation and what we know, I know there's multiple configurations and slightly different models. Originally, we were just trying to figure out how many people were on board, and I'm curious if you are able to know that based on the information you have with how many seats there are. But I think that's helpful for people to know too, is that there's multiple things here. It could be different engines, different models that could also impact the situation.
Absolutely. One of the things we often say when talking about these types of tragedies is that typically it's not enough for one thing to go wrong. Several things have to go wrong for something like this to happen. And both aircraft and engine, meaning the body, the fuselage, but then each of the two engines undergo incredibly intensive and frequent maintenance. At least they're supposed to under federal regulations. So there will have been a lot of people that laid hands on this aircraft and engines over the past several months and years, every 100 hours, every year, at different maintenance intervals. And so it's a very complex situation technically. I think the NTSB and FAA will get at some initial impression of what went wrong. As Brad was saying, at first glance, it has something to do with the engines. But then I think you'd be looking at questions not only of the design of the aircraft and the design of the engines, but also the maintenance history. Aircraft and engines both are supposed to have very well documented maintenance histories. And one of the first things the FAA and NTSB, and if other folks eventually get involved, lawyers such as ourselves for victims, or any other investigators, they're going to be taking a long, hard look at the maintenance history of whether the aircraft and engines were up to speed with the maintenance that was supposed to be performed, and also whether previous maintenance issues or mishaps had been reported. Sometimes when engines fail, there will be a report that a pilot noticed something that, a couple flights ago or a couple months ago that luckily didn't lead to a fatality, and maybe somebody looked at it and signed off on it. Maybe they should have, maybe they shouldn't have. But that type of historical record of previously reported incidents and what type of maintenance was performed is going to be critical in getting answers and getting to the truth of what happened here.
Such helpful information, Pablo. Before we let you go, because I know this is a very busy day and this is just breaking as it's happening, is there anything else we haven't asked about you want people to know?
No, not at all. I think you guys have hit the right points, hit the right questions, and our hearts go out to the victims' families. We deal with this all the time. It's a terrible, terrible thing to happen. This looks like a terrible crash with several fatalities. So I would just close on that note. This is a terrible crash.
Absolutely heartbreaking, and I appreciate you again taking the time to break this down. I know people appreciate it, so thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
We're going to loop back in our Brad Panovich. Brad,
we have some breaking news here.
We have some breaking news?
Yeah, unfortunately, we've got confirmation from one of Greg Biffle's friends. He was actually on his way down to Florida to see him. And he posted on social media just a while ago, Garrett Mitchell. You could see on your screen there. Unfortunately, I can confirm Greg Biffle, his wife, Christina, daughter Emma, and son Ryder were on the plane because they were on the way to spend the afternoon with us. We are devastated. I'm so sorry to share this. I also know that there was a pilot and likely his assistant on the plane as well. We don't know their names, so we're not going to. But I do. That would make the 5 people on the plane confirmed there that we reported earlier. But the other 2 individuals we have not named yet. But I do know that there was another pilot and an assistant, Greg Biffle's assistant, on that plane as well. So sad news. We kind of knew this, Julie, but we wanted to confirm, and now we have a friend confirming it for us because he was on his way down to Florida to spend time with him. So he would have known firsthand, obviously, that this was happening. And so just the horrible news we didn't want to confirm, but we suspected, and unfortunately that's now what we know.
That's just absolutely heartbreaking information, especially for the friend to have to deliver that news. I know it must be really, really heavy. I almost lost for words. I know you're right that we knew most likely that this was coming and wanted to be very, very safe with it. But there's just really no words to describe the loss this is, not just for these families that are grieving, but he meant so much to so many people.
I mean,
in
the thing
NASCAR
about
community?
Greg Biffle is, like, I think people know him as this NASCAR driver, but I think he was probably more famous and probably more well known for what he did after his racing days. The stuff he did with Helene that I saw firsthand, I mean, he is a true hero for what they did post Helene, personally flying his helicopter back and forth on his own dime oftentimes, taking supplies to those remote areas during Helene. He received the attention he deserved for that, but that just shows you the kind of person he and his family and his assistant and the people like Garrett, Garrett helped him as well. That's what they did. They just stepped up during Helene, so it really shows you what a great person he was to be able to do that. And he didn't have to. I mean, he's got this great racing career. He was into aviation. He owned other aircraft, and he decided to take it, his time, money, and really risk that to go up there in Helene. And so that's why it's just such a more devastating loss, is that he was such a great part of the community as well, on top of the personal loss of his friends, his family, and just a great driver, a better person, honestly.
And I think that really puts into perspective not just how his death is going to impact so many people, but how much North Carolina meant to him.
Yes.
For him to, as you said, put himself at risk, spend the money, spend the time to go out there and help in one of North Carolina's worst disasters in recent years. To put himself out there like that.
He also just lended a hand in Jamaica. Like months ago.
So I think he kind of established the fact that this is something he could do, and he was helping out after Hurricane Melissa, and he's just a servant, in that standpoint. And I think it's great. And Julie, you're right. It's the fact that after racing, you could go live anywhere, right? You could do whatever. He stayed here. He lived in the Statesville area, flew out of here. North Carolina was home to him, and so he stayed true to that. And so it is a huge loss.
He's originally from Washington State.
I believe so. Yes.
So I mean,
but he made his home here.
Yeah, most everyone thinks all the NASCAR guys are from here. Well, they end up being here because
they
the teams are
migrate
based
here.
here. But most people are raised in different parts of the country. The fact that they decided to stay here kind of shows how much they love this area and love this community. So yeah, it's a huge loss. I mean, it's devastating for the families, obviously. And remember, there's a pilot and an assistant, and there's an ex-wife involved. I mean, there's a lot of people that are being impacted personally, but from a community standpoint, it's a huge loss for the community as well.
Especially kids involved.
Yes,
in
I mean, that's just right before the holidays too. It's just. It breaks my heart to see this, happen right before the Christmas. And they were on their way to another charity event they were doing in Florida, by the way.
Doesn't shock people at all, I'm sure.
So they were on their way down there first, and to do this, they were giving again, and then going to spend the holidays in another location. So just heartbreaking.
I imagine we'll see reaction now just kind of flood in for the next few hours and days. And I mean, we're in America's home for racing, so it hits really hard.
Yeah, the NASCAR community, as you know, Carly, is a very tight-knit community. It's I think that's what makes NASCAR so incredible. For folks that aren't NASCAR fans, just spend a weekend at a race or just in this community, and you realize how
you feel it
small and family-oriented the whole sport is. And I know it's for people that aren't into it, don't understand it, but when you get into it, you do realize right away. And Greg Biffle was a great example of that. The fact that he was such a big part of the community.
Yeah, absolutely. Carlene, do you think we need to take a quick break real quick while people...
We can rerun that press conference back again.
And we're
going to give us a few minutes of time to
collect ourselves.
Details.
Yeah. Again, heartbreaking situation. And this is a press conference from about 2 hours ago when officials gave us that first sound from after this happened. They, at this point, were not able to confirm that it was Greg Biffle and his family, but this is the latest information that we have from officials on the crash itself, which, of course, is, I think, now everyone's question of what happened here.
Chief, Statesville. David Only, Police Chief for Statesville.
Would you step up, could you please just say your name again, just for folks?
Absolutely.
And I'm going to introduce them.
Thank you.
Yep.
All right, my name is April Nesbitt. I am the Public Information Officer for the City of Statesville. We're going to provide a short briefing of the incident that happened this morning. At the end of this briefing, we will not be taking any questions. Just want to give you a heads up on that. So I'm going to introduce you to Ron Smith, City Manager for the City of Statesville.
Good morning. My name is Ron Smith. I'm the city manager in Statesville. To my left is John Ferguson, our airport director. Jody Smyer, he's with Idaho County Emergency Management. Chief David Only, police chief, and Chief Glenn Curfey is our fire chief. So we don't have a lot to share this morning, as this is still an active event. But I just wanted to let you know that the city did respond to a crash here at the airport this morning at about 10:15. It's been a multi-agency response. We've had city, county, state, feds are here. So we have had, again, everybody is here on site at this point, and we anticipate that this is going to go on for quite some time. Since we don't have a lot of information to share today, and since this is evolving, either the city or other agencies will take the lead in putting out more information as the day goes on. And with that, I'm going to turn it over to John Ferguson, our airport director.
Thank you. Good morning. Like we said, approximately 10:15 a.m., we got a report of a corporate jet that crashed off the end of the runway on the east end. When actually I came out, it was already fully involved. We've had multiple agencies, as we said, come. The FAA arrived about 12 o'clock today. They're taking over the scene. They're taking over the investigation. We have no information on any cause. The airport now is closed until further notice. It will take some time to get the debris off the runway to get it safe again. At this time, I'm also still don't have any other information than what we've already said. I'll turn this over to, go ahead, you do it.
Again, we'll provide updates as soon as we have them, either be us or other agencies. And if you have direct questions that you want answered, you can email those to me, and we will try to get these back to you as soon as possible. Again, my name is April Nesbitt. It's ANESBIT@statesvilleinc.net. Thank you all.
All right, so you were just listening into that press conference from a little past 12 today when our reporter first got to the scene. And they were just walking us through what we know at that point about the crash. But even in the last hour and a half, we have learned so much more. We now know, unfortunately, that it was Greg Biffle and his family on board that plane. They were some of those killed on the plane. We know that there was likely also another pilot, an assistant on board. We do not know the name of that person, and so we are waiting to confirm that before we share any information. But now that this has become public via one of Greg Biffle's friends, who he was actually on his way to go visit in Florida, we are hoping that officials will soon give an update as well. But of course, this is the heartbreaking news that NASCAR fans everywhere did not want to hear. We knew that the plane was owned by a company that was affiliated with Greg Biffle, but we did not know for sure until within the last 15 minutes that this was official. Now, I know, Brad, you were one of the ones that helped us track this originally when we first got word that there was a crash at Statesville, but heartbreaking news that no one wanted to hear.
Yeah, and that's really the most important new news, is that we kind of suspected, and I know a lot of people out there kind of thought they knew ahead of time, but as we've been, our job as journalists, obviously, is we have to confirm things. We kind of suspect things, and we wanted to also know that the family's got to be notified as well. I mean, unfortunately, this is affecting a lot of people, so that was unfortunate that we've got that confirmation that we were dreading to hear, to be honest with you. But Julie, one of the things that I looked at immediately was the flight data, and all these planes have to transmit flight data, so you get a pretty good idea on the flight path. And so the first thing I did is I went and grabbed the flight data, and I pulled it into Google Earth, which is just a KML file. And I don't know if Carlene, if you can bring my computer up real quickly, I can kind of show you guys the flight path here. What's fascinating about this is this not only shows you the path, but it's 3D, so I can see the altitude. So you can see, and I'll back this up just to kind of show you how this happened. The plane took off right here, and we'll kind of play it slowly so you can see this, if I can get it to play. It took off and then tried to land back at the airport, and it never quite made it. So the area where the plane was coming in was trying to make a landing at the Statesville Airport, but it clipped these trees and parts of the golf course on the way in, and that's where we saw the damage on the runway was what was left of the plane actually making it all the way there. So,
I have a question with this diagram. So, like with this, when you zoomed out with this loop, how exactly like far-reaching is that loop?
Not very far. You can see almost the second they took off, they were looping. They came back. They were gaining altitude here near Catawba. They just crossed over the river. But they circled back fairly quickly. So this all happened within about 10 minutes of takeoff, right?
Okay.
And based on the radio traffic that I heard, the pilot pretty quickly reported there was engine trouble. And so they were coming back to the airport. What I find interesting, and I'd love to get another pilot's opinion on this, is, they took off this way, right? And they're going back this direction. They probably declared an emergency at the airport. They could have came right back from the west, but they actually circled all the way back around and tried to come back the way that the opposite direction that they took off. And you can see the flight data cuts off right here near the golf course. That's because they probably lost so much altitude. At that point, there was some kind of collision with trees or the ground. And even though we're seeing all the pictures and we know that there's debris on the runway, based on the flight data and the other videos that I've seen, there was definitely, they hit before the runway. So somewhere in there, that's probably why the fire was so large too. It probably ripped open the fuel tanks. So to me, that tells me that there was some loss of power, because you need power to get all the way back to the runway. They lost lift over the airplane wings. And if you have one engine, it should have been enough. This plane can fly with one engine. It could technically fly with no engines if you have enough altitude to glide in. But once you're close to the ground, your margin for error kind of goes away. One of the things, I'm not a pilot, so I will fully expect, but I don't understand how these things work, because the amazing thing about flying is that you're pushing air over this wing and you're creating a low pressure area behind the wing that creates lift, right? And you need to have speed to create lift off of airplane wing. If you've ever been on a plane and you take off, you don't take off until you get enough speed on the runway, right? When you're coming in for a landing, you have to maintain enough speed to create lift over the wing, but you also want to land. So landing and taking off are the most dangerous parts of any flight. So the fact that they were losing power, had engine issues, probably was a big part of this crash.
So I know that this is heartbreaking, of course, but also fascinating that you're able to get so much of this information before we're able to get official confirmation. I know that we are going to take some time to process this. Everyone will. We're going to gather our thoughts, take a quick break, and come back in about 2 minutes.
When that thing hit the ground, it blew the flaps in the shop open. Holy shit. Looking for the set screws now.